Hi again, Panther fans, and welcome to the Panther Insider Podcast driven by Ford. This is Dave Cohen, the radio voice of the Panthers. Great to have you back with us once again as we talk Georgia State athletics. And on this latest show, we're talking Georgia State basketball as we are into the 2023 season, and we're going to be joined by two preseason All-Sun Belt Conference returning players, guards Dwon, Odom, and Brenden Tucker. Dwon averaged 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists per game in 2022, his first season after transferring from Xavier. And Brenden, who will join us in the second segment, averaged 13 points, 3 rebounds after transferring from the college at Charleston. Both Atlanta area kids returning to Atlanta to play for head coach Jonas Hayes and the Panthers. Panther fans, reminder, basketball season tickets and single game tickets available by calling the Georgia State Athletics ticket office, 404-413-4020. You can also visit online and purchase tickets at georgiastatesports.com. Also, before we get to this week's podcast guests, thanks to all of our Panther fans who have subscribed, rated, and reviewed all previous Panther Insider podcasts. If you've missed any of our previous shows, they're all available on our Apple Archives page. You can access those online also by visiting georgiastatesports.com. We're talking college basketball on this latest Panther Insider podcast driven by Ford. So let's first welcome Dwon Odom to the Panther radio microphones. Dwon, great to have you with us. Here we go, 2023 season. It got a little rough at times last year, but boy, this team looks totally different. But the core group, you, Brenden, Jermaine Mann, Ed Namoko, all back. How's the offseason been, and how do you feel heading into your second season here at Georgia State?
The offseason, it's been different from last season. It's been a little same because we still putting in work. We've been working hard, but it's been very different because we got different guys, different mindsets. We got guys, winners, guys who really want to win and, who enjoys playing together and who we just bond very well. And so, ever since the summer, ever since we had new guys come in, you was able to see that bond, and we've been able to do many different things, connect well on and off the court. So I say that's one thing that really helps this team this year.
Your dynamic is interesting from a Georgia State basketball perspective because, you come out of St. Francis up in Alpharetta. I think you played for Drew Catlett, former Georgia State assistant, good friend of mine. And then you go to Xavier for 2 years, and you're on that NIT championship team, which I'll ask you about here in a little bit. But then you transfer into Georgia State, and you come in, and you're kind of the new guy. And the dynamic this year, after being there a year, is that you're the surly veteran for Georgia State basketball, kind of having a little bit of that leadership role and getting everybody else acclimated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a little weird at first, but my teammates helped, Coach Hayes helped, and the other coaches helped, of course, get me acclimated with things. And, it's different being at Xavier and coming here, but at the end of the day, it's basketball, and I was able to just come back home, be around people, my family, people that I love. And overall, being here at Georgia State is a winning program. So I just wanted to bring my talents here and just, be able to just win here at Georgia State because that's one of the most important things.
It's interesting, too. You're at Xavier for 2 years, and Coach Hayes, Jonas, is an assistant there up until a coaching change late in the season, and he leads you guys into that NIT championship. From your perspective, you're the only guy here that has seen him and played under him as an assistant coach and also played under him as an interim head coach and played under him as a head coach at Georgia State. You've kind of seen him, from your own way, develop into the coach that he's become and is becoming.
Yeah, I've been able to know Coach Hayes for a long time, been recruiting me for a long time, and he's very passionate, and, he just wants to see his players and everyone succeed, and he's going to push you. He's going to test you, but at the end of the day, he wants tough players, and, he's a caring person, but he wants you to work. And I tell everybody all the time that he's going to be hard on you, but it's all going to pay off if you just listen and if you just work. You will get what you want because as a coach, he's going to be honest with you, and he's always been honest with me from day one. And I'd do anything to play for a coach like that. So it's been very good over the last couple of years being able to see him make that transition. And so I just tell everybody, man, it's just he's one of the easiest coaches to play for. You just got to be willing to put the work in.
Timing is everything. Georgia State, a couple of years ago, coming off an NCAA tournament bid and playing Gonzaga out at Portland. We come back, and obviously the core group of that team exhausts their eligibility. And then you and Brenden and Jermaine and Ed come in. It's kind of like, timing, they say, is everything. And so we're way up here in the NCAA tournament. Last year, out of the gate, we struggled because it's a new team, and we lost a core of that NCAA team. How tough was that last year? Not only getting acclimated, but and again, some of those games were close losses. But to navigate, you went from being on an NIT championship team in which you scored, I think, 18 or 21 points in that championship game over Texas A&M to come in and having to go through last year.
Yeah, it was a big difference, but one of the major things from last year is just sometimes I say we weren't as connected, and that plays a big part on the team. And it's tough, when some of the main guys from a team leave and you have other guys who haven't really played as much, and then you have new guys coming in. Sometimes that can be an issue, but we were able to make it work, and there was a lot of tough games. Some games we could have won, but overall we just had to learn from it. There were so many games we were right there, but sometimes things happen, and sometimes you can't stay on top forever. So we had to make some changes. And overall, we were able to get some good changes out of it. Last year was last year. I mean, we had to go through that, but now we're looking to be better this year.
You're already one of the top players in the Sun Belt Conference. Just speaking of the Sun Belt, I know you were in the Big East before, and you're one of the top players in the Big East as well. From a mental standpoint, it can be a little bit of a roller coaster ride, being on a high up here. Again, that last year at Xavier and the way it ended, and then coming to Georgia State. My question is, from a mental standpoint, how much stronger are you, Dwon Odom, having been up top here and then having gone through last year, come out on the other side, and now being looked at as one of the team leaders this year?
It hasn't always been easy, I'll tell you that. Especially with Coach Hayes and all the other coaches, it's a little tough. They really like to test you and push you, and sometimes they could be hard, but they know that I'm ready. They know that I'm built for it, and I've always been a guy who won't back down. I would never back down. I would never give up, and they just believe in me. And, having coaches who believe in you, it just makes you want to work harder and even push and fight for them. So just being one of the leaders, man, I just try to help everybody the best way that I can, and just tell everybody and show everybody I've been in certain positions and I've been through certain things, so I can always help and talk. And I'm not the biggest talker off the court, but when it comes to basketball, I will not be quiet. So I'm always going to talk and help.
And you're a guy who's walked the walk and talked the talk. At St. Francis, you led them to back-to-back Class A private school state championships. You were the Player of the Year Class A in 2019-2020. Again, you go to Xavier. You're on an NIT championship team, which, by the way, you did score 18 points. So you're a guy who has, again, you've walked it, and you can talk it as well, and you can back it up.
Oh, yeah, and I had a very good coach, Coach Catlett in high school, and the assistants, Coach Armstrong, Coach McCard. I had really good coaches who really got me ready for the moments and pushed me. And like I said, having coaches who believe in you and believe in your talent, that makes you want to go harder for them. And, high school, I went into high school, so many people doubted us, so many people doubted me. And all I could do was just remain humble like I always do and just prove people wrong. That's one thing I love to do. I've been talked about my whole life. People tried to downplay me, talk bad about me, but one thing I always do is just prove people wrong and show people that, I can do something. The word can't, I don't believe in the word can't.
I think you've more than proven, even putting aside what we may or may not accomplish this year, you've already proven pretty much everybody wrong. A couple of times at practice, And there's only 2 freshmen in the class this year. Everybody else is a transfer from either D2, D1, well, most of them D1, and you got Julian who came in from JUCO. But I've seen you on a couple of occasions pull a guy like Malik Ferguson aside. And basically you're now taking the younger guy under your wing and bringing him along, as I'm sure someone did for you at Xavier.
Oh, yeah, Paul Scruggs was my guy for me at Xavier. Showed me many things. That's like pretty much my big brother. I love him, man, and I thank him so much. And, you know, I just try to do the same thing for everyone on the team because everyone comes to me and, you know, they believe in me and they ask me so much. And Malik has a big spirit, and he loves to laugh, he loves to joke around and stuff. So, and he's a freshman, so I just tell him, man, that big personality that he has, man, use that on the basketball court, man, and keep on smiling. And he messes up a lot, of course, that's normal, but he plays hard, and I just try to be there just to help him and just show him, you know, what to do, what not to do, because Malik is a very good player, and I believe in him.
That would lead some to believe that somewhere down the line, and you know, you may remember the first time we actually met was at Swanee Sports Academy. I knew that you had signed with Georgia State, and my youngest was up there playing travel ball, and you were coaching, you know, some younger kids. In that you embrace that leadership role as a player, and it seems like you like to coach. Is that something? In other words, you know, basketball's tough to get out of your blood. Can you see yourself, you know, becoming a coach when your playing days, whenever those end, are over?
Oh, yeah, I definitely, you know, I love coaching. I love helping. Basketball is going to always be in my blood. I've been playing it for so long, and I'm going to continue to keep playing it. But, you know, I'm always the one who wants to help. And, you know, one of my high school coaches, he needed me that day. And the crazy thing is I just got back in town from leaving Cincinnati, and he called me and told me he needed my help. And Coach Armstrong, I love Coach Armstrong, and I'll do anything to help. But, you know, coaching, I love coaching, especially being around Coach Hayes. So that's definitely something I want to do one day, just to show people that, you know, I'm not just a player. I can also, you know, do other things, and coaching is one of them, whether helping other people, anything, talking to other people, anything, you know. So just showing people that I'm always willing to put myself out there to help.
At the core, somebody in your career has always coached you. You've always had a head coach, but at the end of the day, you're your own coach. You know what you're good at and maybe what you want to get better at. Coming off last year, again, you had a pretty good season last year for Georgia State. I think, 13 points, 4 or 5 rebounds, 3 assists a game, as I mentioned earlier. Going into a long summer and then, you know, preseason practice, what had you told yourself at the end of the season last year, knowing that the roster was going to turn over and roles may change, but what did you at the core want to get better at within you?
I knew that I just had to make some changes, you know, especially with my conditioning. I had to get better conditioning-wise, but one thing I just wanted to work on was just how can I just help other guys, continue to help other guys, and, you know, how can I be a better leader also? You know, you can always be better at something. So, you know, just how I talk to people sometimes, just being better at that, seeing when a guy is down and not having a good game, you know, how can I help? You know, of course, I'm always working on my game, been working on my shooting a whole lot, of course, my ball handling. But one of the major things for me is just how can I be there for other people and help other people, because at the end of the day, I'm not perfect, but I know what I can do, and I know what I can bring to the table, but I just know that you need your teammates to play. So even if I'm not playing well, if those other guys are playing well, we win, and that's all that matters.
Lastly, it seems like the chemistry is really good because you've been able to be around each other all summer, and then, you know, fall practice. It's exciting to get this season finally underway. I know you played the one exhibition game. Everybody's tired of intra-squad day after day. I know you're ready to get this campaign in 2023 underway.
Oh, yeah, we are so ready, and it's so crazy that being here, playing against Belmont, former teammate of mine, Adam Kunkel, played here at Belmont. So got a chance to hear some things from him. So, but it's fun though, getting a chance to open up, play against these guys. We're ready. We've been waiting to play for so long, been talking about it for so long, and like you said, we've been working since the summer, and it's been tough. It's been hard, but that's what basketball is. That's why you go through all summer, through July, August, all of that time. You go through all of that to get to this moment. So we're ready. We're prepared. We just got to go out there and just show everybody that we're not the same team from last year. We're different.
All right, Dwon, appreciate it. Best of luck. Always good to talk to you. Give Panther fans a chance to get to know you a little bit better than just showing up and watching you perform at the Georgia State Convocation Center. So best of luck, and let's have a good season.
Yes, sir. Thank you. As all the Panther fans, hope you guys tune into this first game, and we will get the win.
All right, we want to thank Dwon Odom joining us here in the opening segment of our Panther Insider podcast, driven by Ford. Again, we're talking college basketball on this podcast. Second season for head coach Jonas Hayes. A lot of new faces, but at the end of the day, Dwon, Brenden, Jermaine, and Ed are the four guys back from last year. We'll talk with Brenden Tucker, one of the other returning guards, following these words from Ford and Center Park Credit Union.
Even before the victory celebration is over, great teams are back at it the next day, working to get even better. The team at Ford understands how hard work and dedication pay off. Over the last 30 years, Ford Explorer has been America's best-selling SUV. In fact, all Ford SUVs, like Explorer, Escape, and Edge, are built for victory. Score a great offer today at your local Ford dealer. Based on total cumulative OEM reported U.S. sales for all SUVs from calendar year 1990 through calendar year 2019.
Center Park Credit Union, the official financial sponsor of GSU football, is proud to be a part of the Georgia State community and the Panther Athletics program. Center Park provides members convenient financial services. In addition to online banking, mobile banking, and 7 Metro Atlanta branches, Center Park members have access to 5,000 co-op shared branches and 75,000 surcharge-free ATMs nationwide. To find a location near you, visit online at centerpark.org/contact, and that's park with a C. Not a member? Join today at centerpark.org. At Center Park, we help our members flourish. We're back on the Panther Insider podcast driven by Ford. We're talking Georgia State basketball on this latest podcast. I want to thank Dwon Odom for joining us in the opening segment. Georgia State, early in the 2023 campaign, and one of the other returning guards, last year averaging 13 points. And prior to that was a 3-year letter winner at the College of Charleston before making the decision to transfer back to the Atlanta area to play for Coach Hayes, and that is Brenden Tucker out of Decula. Brenden, thanks for joining us here on the Panther Insider podcast. And as I said to Dwon, I know everybody coming off the season a year ago was really ready to get this season underway and kind of really erase, you can't erase, but put that really behind Georgia State basketball with the way it finished a year ago.
Yeah, just from last year, I feel like we just ready to turn over a new leaf. I feel like we got a lot of new pieces that fit, that gel together. And we really ready to make some noise this year.
How tough was that last year? You come in from the College of Charleston. As I mentioned, Dwon comes in from Xavier. Charleston, as historically, even back when Georgia State and the Cougars were in the same league, they were a really good program. And Dwon comes in after Xavier's success in the NIT. How tough is that to come in? On one hand, it's great to be back in Atlanta at your hometown, but at the same time, that level of success because of the transitionary period that Georgia State basketball was in wasn't quite there. I mean, you guys are building it back up.
Yeah, it definitely was a tough transition last year, just coming from like winning standpoints. Just last year really took a toll on us, but I feel like this year, I really feel like it's gonna be that year that to get back to where Georgia State, where it's supposed to be.
Doesn't take a toll on you physically because you guys had individually, if we just look at Brenden Tucker, you had a good year statistically, but it's really mentally that it becomes a long, draining type season, especially a number of those games were really close at the very end.
Yeah, there were a lot of nail-biters, but like you said, it's not really just my individual success, it's really more of the team. So not one player just playing all the minutes or whatever. There's 5 of us on the floor. So everybody has to contribute.
you come back and you're playing for Jonas Hayes, and Jarvis stays on the staff. How familiar were you with Coach Hayes and ultimately, I guess, Jarvis as well, or the staff that they brought in? In other words, your decision to leave college at Charleston was because why?
I was really family oriented. I knew Coach Jonas. I knew Coach Jonas and Coach Jarvis for a long time. Coach Jonas actually knew me. He was recruiting me at Georgia. I was in like 7th, 8th grade. He knew me since I had braces, which is crazy. And Coach Jarvis, he was actually my AAU coach for Atlanta Celtics at one point. So we all really just got close and everything like that. So that's definitely one of the decisions that I made to come back to Atlanta just for that reason.
From your standpoint, being an Atlanta kid, what was the perception from you on Georgia State basketball?
Really, I just knew the Georgia State, it was scrappy. I knew there was a lot of tough things in the SBC. A lot of tough teams. We actually played each other when I was a freshman at College of Charleston. We beat them probably by 2 or 4 or something like that. But I already knew from that standpoint. I was like, oh yeah, there's a lot of tough teams out there.
But a bulk of the decision was to come back to the Atlanta area, and Georgia State provided a great opportunity for you to come back and do that at a group of 5, pretty high level.
Most definitely. Like I said, just really family oriented. I wanted to come back so my family can see me play my last few years out throughout college.
All right, this is a great opportunity for Georgia State fans to get to know our players a little bit above and beyond just sitting in the stands and seeing you play. You started at Archer High School, and then you went to Decula. Talk a little bit about your high school experience.
High school experience, I feel like it was fun. First 2 years at Archer, it was definitely fun. I feel like me and the coach that was there, I feel like we wasn't really on the same page for real. So definitely just to weigh my options, and I guess Decula was at the end of the stick. So I finished my years throughout there, and I actually feel like I had a great season throughout Decula.
Was there a connection there? I mean, how does one go from Archer to Decula? And I asked this without knowing anybody, and maybe you did.
Gwinnett is really just like everybody really knows each other, like throughout high schools. Everybody knows like what people can do and everything like that. And I felt like Decula was a nice fit for me, actually. There's a lot of people that I knew from there, and they just wanted me to come there and show what I had to do.
You feel like that prepared you pretty well for College of Charleston I guess when you were there, they were in the Colonial Athletic Association because they had gone from the SoCon to the Colonial, which Georgia State had been in the Colonial, granted not when College of Charleston was in it, but it's a good basketball league. And historically, I think it was even better back when Georgia State was in it, but it's still a very, very competitive league.
Yeah, CAA is still very competitive. There's a lot of teams out there in that league that can go beyond in the NCAA bracket. Really, just CAA it's a nice, tough league. But like I said, the SBC is a really tough, scrappy league as well.
Yeah, and it got even better with the 4 teams that came in last year, all firing on all pistons and ready to go. So
they was actually in the CAA, the JMU. So I already knew their tendencies and everything like that. So I tried to get last year's team to tell them, like, look, it's some nice teams out here in the CAA. So just watch out.
Yeah, exactly. You knew that from, and JMU was in it back when Georgia State was in it. So Georgia State basketball, go through the season that we go through a year ago, and then the guys leave, guys coming into the transfer portal. I'm going to ask you about the transfer portal in a minute. But you show up at some of these summer workouts, and there's all these new faces. It takes a little while. It's not like it was 2 guys or 3 new guys. It was like 8 or 9 new faces. That's a lot.
Yeah, it definitely was a lot, but I knew from a leader standpoint, I knew that all the people that came in, we already had a big conversation already prior, like to basketball or anything, just to get to know each other, because I already know how that goes with new faces and everything. You don't know how people act, you don't know how people like their tendencies and everything like that. So I've just made sure to like get everybody's standpoint, get everybody to know what Georgia State is all about beforehand. Yeah,
really it falls on not so much Ed because he was a freshman, but you and Dwon and Jermaine, kind of the elder statesmen. You were the last 3 standing as far as guys that had played before.
Mm-hmm, most definitely. And those 2 actually, we already have history already, just coming from AAU or even when we was little. We seen each other grow up and we seen each other play. We kept in touch and everything.
Plus, as you mentioned earlier, you knew Jonas Hayes and Jarvis Hayes from when they were recruiting you when you were coming out of high school. So you know that his personality, you know his demeanor, his coaching style. Jonas is not going to bring guys in that are going to, quote-unquote, upset the apple cart. And that's why I think, from where I sit, that even though there's a lot of new faces, it seems like everybody gets along, and then the chemistry is really good.
Yeah, most definitely. I feel like at the donor dinner that we had, Coach said that he don't recruit bums, and I definitely believe that. He doesn't recruit bums at all. So we definitely a tough, scrappy team.
But it takes a little while, I guess most of this during the summer, for everybody to kind of learn their role, and for lack of a better term, learn their place in the overall scheme of things of what you guys want to accomplish.
Yeah, I feel like that just happens over time. I feel like this is really like our goal right now today, like to see what we need to work on, what we need to do to get higher to the stage that we need to be at.
Yeah, you can't rush chemistry. I mean, it's just something that develops and takes time. Again, it looks like it's pretty good, but I'm guessing that maybe a third of the way through this season, by the time we get to Sun Belt Conference play, I mean, I'm hoping, knock on wood, that you guys are clicking on all cylinders, and it will feel like that these 8 or 9 new guys have been here for 2 years.
Most definitely. Coach wants no drop-offs for anybody, and that's what we're preaching right now. So we all have to know each other's tendencies, what we need to do, what we need to work on, everything like that. Just we need to figure that out now instead of later on into the year.
Again, last year you averaged 13 points, 3 rebounds in your first season. Again, it looks like from what Coach Hayes has brought in, there's depth and enough of it at almost every position. I mean, you got bigger, you got faster, you got stronger, and you know as well as I do, the perimeter shooting needed to get better because you were like the best shooter on the team last year, or one of the best shooters on the team last year. And it looks like it's gotten better.
No, it definitely did. I seen that the first workout we had, I've seen a lot of people that can shoot, and that's really all that we need. It's hard to defend teams that can shoot, that can drive, that can do a lot of things that other teams can't.
When I was talking to Dwon in the first segment, we were talking about the willingness and the ability to kind of step into a leadership role, and the fact that you, Dwon, and Jermaine, again, upperclassmen, not overlooking Ed and Moko, with all these new guys, I'm assuming it's a situation where some of the new guys, if not all the new guys, are looking to you for a little bit of leadership, holding the light out front and say, follow me. This is the way we do things here at Georgia State.
Most definitely. And that definitely comes from us, but it also comes from the coaching staff as well. So we all play a combining group into that, just to showing the new guys what we do here.
Is there a little bit, at least for the 4 of you, a little bit of what we'll call that basketball chip on the shoulder to kind of come out this year and show the rest of the Sun Belt, which we just talked, great league, very, very good league, but that last year was really an anomaly, and that's not Georgia State basketball.
Yeah, I feel like there was just a lot of hype around us last year, just coming from the new convocation center that's being built and just new coaches and everything like that. I feel like a lot of people were just trying to see what Georgia State was all about. We didn't really live up to expectations, but like I said, we got to turn over a new leaf, and this is a new year.
You spend a lot of time in the gym during the off season of the Convocation Center. Again, you were already averaging 13 points. You're a good rebounder. What were a couple of the things that within you, Brenden Tucker, this is what I want to focus on this summer. So when I come out on the other side and we get into 2023, I'm going to be better at this.
Really just I really say my passing. I really feel like I needed shooters, which I have now. So, and that would just open up a lot of driving lanes for everybody. Definitely need shooters out there. So really just finding my teammates, staying poised throughout the game, and yeah, that's really it.
Tell you, watching Jaden Turner in the exhibition game, there's a guy who, for whatever reason, and that's on the positive side, just wherever the ball is, there's Jaden Turner.
It was definitely a junkyard dog. That's all I can say. He's definitely a junkyard dog. That's exactly what every team needs. Everybody needs a Jaden Turner, and I'm glad that we have him.
And then there's a guy like Leslie who comes in. Last year, I mean, the rebounding, again, a lot of the rebounding fell on the guards and Jermaine. Again, up front, looks like we got better rebounding, and of course, Jaden is a big part of that. He had a double-double in the exhibition game.
Yeah, I'm glad that we got those guys, especially Leslie. We go back since probably like 9th, 8th grade. We played on the same AAU team, so I've seen his game elevate ever since he went to Longwood, so I'm glad that we can have him.
I said I was going to ask you about the transfer portal because you have used it coming from college to Charleston to Georgia State. What are your thoughts on the movement, as much of the amount of movement that we see in college? Let's just focus on college basketball nowadays. Again, it worked for you. You went from one good situation to a good situation that brought you back to Atlanta. But what's your viewpoint on the portal?
Just making sure that you find a place. Because a lot of people that I know that's in the transfer portal that got stuck and they didn't have anywhere to go. So really just making sure that you're finding that place that you really want, making sure that you just have everything. And also what plays into a part is your grades. If you don't have the grades, you might be stuck in the transfer portal as well. So always remember to have your grades up and everything and just finding that new home.
That'll lead me into this question. With regards to the transfer portal, it worked for you, but it's affected, and you were a top high school player in the state of Georgia coming out. It seems like it's affected the high school kids because there's so much, coaches don't necessarily they're not always known for having the most patience. They're supposed to win yesterday, and the portal has given everybody an opportunity to kind of look more at that. It seems like than in some cases anybody below a 5 or a 4-star may not get the looks that they used to get.
Yeah, I feel like going from that, I always tell like my younger people, go where you want it. A lot of coaches don't really preach that. They trying to just get up in the Power 5 or whatever like that. Really, just players need to go where they're wanted, and we want to go to a coach where if they're hitting your lineup every single day or they're like begging you to come there. Like those are the coaches that you really want to really like call you and text your phone. That's really it. I really have to say about that one. Just really having like coaches that hit your lineup for you.
Well, it was good for you because the Hayes twins had already been after you coming out of high school. You already knew them.
Yeah, and that was a good thing. Also, just don't burn bridges. A lot of people burn bridges that they shouldn't, and going into life, I feel like you need those bridges. You need those coaches, those people that you had in your past that you may need now in the future.
All right, lastly, student at Georgia State. That's the other part of the student athlete. What are you studying at Georgia State, and what do you want to do when your basketball days, however far down the line that is, are over?
My fault. I'm studying communications right now, but in College of Charleston, I was doing business, but I had to change my major when I came to communications, all that, like dealing with the academics, different school, it's whatever. It's a lot of stuff, yeah. What was the other question?
Your plans when whenever you stop playing basketball, however far down the line that is.
Definitely want to probably be an entrepreneur, just have my own business. I really can't see myself behind like a desk or anything. I want to be like active or anywhere near the sports world. That's where I want to be at.
I talked to Dwon about maybe wanting to coach. Is that something that because basketball's tough to get out of your blood at any level?
Most definitely, that could be definitely a possibility. A lot of people has told me that I could be a good coach. But if it's not that, then I'll probably be somewhat of an analyst or something like that, or just anything a part of the sports world.
Well, who knows? You might be sitting to my right when your playing days are over. Brenden, appreciate it. Good getting a chance to talk to you, and best of luck as we continue on here in the 2023 season. Let's stack and pile up the W's.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you for having me.
All right, I want to thank Brenden Tucker and Dwon Odom joining us here on the latest Panther Insider podcast driven by Ford. And as a reminder to Georgia State fans, please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you download your podcasts. We're back again soon with another very special guest on the Panther Insider podcast driven by Ford. So this is Dave Cohen saying thanks for listening. We'll see you at the GSU Convocation Center. And as always, go Panthers!